Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again on My Legal Software. And today's episode is social media marketing for personal injury attorneys. Let me introduce our fabulous panelist, and I'm going to go according to my screen. So on my left at the top, we have Nava Zaina. Nava, would you like to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, and then at the bottom of my screen, I have Jessica. Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be of service. Glad to be back again.
And we have a very special panelist who I think is going to be quiet most of the time today. We have Ravi with us. So just to kick things off here, today we're going to focus more on personal injury attorney and social media marketing for them. And Jessica, there is a lot of myth behind this. And, I've spoken to many attorneys during I would say my time with this fabulous company and speaking to these guys for many years. Let's cover some of the myths. And I know you are the right person to speak to because I mean, you handle these things with them like it's a breeze. It's easy to you. So let's cover some myths. Go ahead.
Yes, so one of the common misconceptions and myths is that social media is not an effective way to generate leads, specifically for personal injury lawyers. So, actually, contrary to that belief, social media could really help them, especially when they're trying to build their reputation. They're still trying to build their client base. This is best for either small law firms or solo lawyers wanting to build their legal practice into a law firm. So social media could really help them, especially when building their brand, when building their reputation. And maybe to some, they will not find the results in like the next day or the next week. But planting the seed now could definitely get them the leads that they needed.
That is actually fabulous to hear. And you did mention, a few aspects for them. And thinking back on some of the words that you mentioned, Zaina had asked me a couple of questions. I think it was yesterday. And I said, the best person to actually speak to would be Jessica because she would have those answers that I could not even put into words. Explain it to her. And I think it was just maybe 2 or 3 questions that Zaina had. Zaina, would you like to ask those questions to Jessica?
Yes, of course. So one of my main questions, Jessica, was why should solo personal injury lawyers or lawyers in small firms allocate resources to social media marketing?
Yes, that's a very, very interesting question. Thank you, Zaina. So, a lot of people think that when you do social media, you just get it for free. You do some posts, you do some comments, you like, engage, and then that's it. But what they didn't know is that the best way to really maximize it, especially if you're trying to generate leads and to build your brand or awareness of your service, is to really spend on it. Consider it an investment. You put in a little bit of money either for the ads and or the content, because if it's not done with intention, it's really going to be challenging. So you have to invest on something that you want to grow. So you might as well do it with social media for your law firm or your legal practice as a solo lawyer.
Thank you. And how can social media marketing help solo personal injury lawyers or small law firms build and nurture these client relationships?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question, Dana. When you're trying to nurture relationships, you have to have a constant communication. So imagine being with your friend who you've been talking to for almost every day, and then suddenly they didn't show up, they didn't answer your calls or your messages. that's the same with social media. If you somehow started posting and then you stopped because let's say you got busy, it's going to be hard for that relationship to be built back again. So that's why when you're trying to build a relationship with your audience, with your future clients, with your current clients, constant communication, and with the case of social media, consistency in posting is really, really necessary.
That's really good to know. In terms of advantages, are there cost effectiveness advantages or like scalability advantages that social media marketing can offer to personal injury lawyers who are solo or small law firms?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you look at like let's consider it like an ROI or a return of investment. So when you spend time on social media or you spend some money on it, either by getting a professional to do the content and the strategy as well as ads, you get to feel that return eventually when your clients start coming in. And it's harder to really, just risk that kind of investment with someone that's less or probably not professional in doing it, because one, you're wasting money, two, you're burning opportunities here, and then three, um you might as well, do it yourself if you're not going to trust a professional about. You're not gonna, you're gonna be half-hearted or just trust someone who's gonna make you promises but didn't have that portfolio. So here at My Legal Software, we have that service, and we are professional marketers here. We have decades of experiences, and we can adapt to several platforms. So if you want to be on TikTok, you want to be on Instagram, you want to be on YouTube, you want to be on LinkedIn, we can help you with that by cutting down the learning curve for you and getting that stress out of you and making sure that you get the leads, the opportunities, the relationships right on time without wasting money, without wasting time for you.
Thank you,
So,
Jessica.
Zaina, so does that answer those questions that you had asked me that Jessica had answered for you?
I don't think anyone could have done it better. She's laid it out so clearly.
See, I did tell you, she would have been the better person to explain it to you. So, Jessica, you made some fabulous points on these, but, we also have to consider, being in law, being in the legal profession as well. The attorneys would have to follow ethics and guidelines. And that is why I have Zaina with us here today, to maybe cover those guidelines and those ethics. Zaina, could you just put out some pointers for us, like for the attorneys that are watching, attorneys that are listening to us? What would be the guidelines? Just a few pointers as to what they would need to look out for to ensure that everything is quality, everything goes according to the legislations and the laws and bylaws that have been set out.
Absolutely. I think foremost would be confidentiality and privacy, for sure. That's one of the main considerations that attorneys should think of. Then there's truth and accuracy. How truthful are you being? Are you misleading? Client consent is very big. If you're sharing testimonials, it's a no-brainer. You have to have consent and you have to mask identity. Avoiding unauthorized practice of law. Of course, being professional and courteous. The kind of testimonials, like I said, that you're using or sharing, the fact that they do not guarantee future outcomes, and adhering to advertising regulations in general. They're not just applicable to other industries, they're also applicable to legal advertising, of course. Whether there's a conflict of interest, competence, how engagement is conducted. Are you being responsive? Are you respectful? Transparency. Are you again, it should not be misleading. adhering to the policies of the social media platforms that you're using, especially if you're using several. And then, of course, monitoring and reviewing everything that you're putting out there. These are some major things that should be considered.
So these are some of the guidelines that will have to be adhered to. So to the attorneys and our viewers, our listeners out there, remember, you heard it first on My Legal Software. Please do not forget to subscribe and follow us as well for more details, more information, more tips and tricks on marketing. And Zaina, I want to say thank you so much for covering the ethical side on this for us. And moving back to that social media marketing for personal injury lawyers, it can be a very powerful way to connect with, potential clients, build trust, and establish expertise in their field. And I know Jessica is like one of the experts in this field, and I know she has some fantastic and effective strategies to consider. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, I couldn't agree more.
So what would you like to cover in those strategies, some ideas, for these attorneys to consider?
Yeah, so you see, when you're trying to build a strategy, I think this goes the same with lawyers when they're trying to win a case, when they're trying to build their own strategy for their cases. You have to know what you want to do, how you want to go through it, and where your leverage is. So if you don't understand where you can leverage from and what you want to target, what you really want to hit, it's going to be difficult to come up with a strategy that works. And when you're also not equipped with enough experience, you guys would know this as lawyers yourself, that when you're it's just your first year versus it's your 5th year, your 10th year in the practice, there's really a difference on your thinking, on your workflow. There's efficiency, definitely. So when you trust someone who has decades of experience, who has 5 years of experience, versus someone who's just new to creating strategy, you could see the difference. And for the lawyers, if they, let's say, someone just wants to build their reputation, we can build a strategy around it. Someone wants to build more leads that they want to convert, we could build a strategy around it. Or someone wants to just put awareness of their practice, or they're probably a new lawyer, you could also build a strategy around it. So when it comes to strategy, you have to define first what you want to happen, and then from there you can do the planning, the next steps, and that's setting yourself up to success. And that's why professional experience is very, very relevant when it comes to coming up with a strategy that works.
So while we are on those terms of that very fantastic keyword that you use, strategy, it is a very big word. I mean, what would be the right platform to choose? Let's just say when they are starting out, what would be the right platform?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you have to look at your leverage. Are you already known? Do people start recommending you? Or are you someone who's just new to your neighborhood? Or you moved offices and now you need to build awareness again? Or you're probably someone who's known, but everyone thinks you're busy. So you need to put out a content that says, we welcome new clients because we are scaling, we're growing, we have new associates, you have new lawyers on board. And if you don't put that out, they'll just be thinking, oh, maybe they're busy. I'll probably check with another lawyer or another law firm. But if you communicate what you really want to happen, and you that's in line with your full strategy, like let's say 3-month strategy, 2-quarter strategy, yearly strategy, it's really going to pay off. But yeah, if you're like, yeah, maybe I could just post something now and then later, and then maybe next week, or yeah, I'm busy next month, it's going to be hard for them to understand where your law firm is, where you are as a lawyer. Are you scaling? Are you even active? So that's why with my legal software, we could help you with that. If you're busy, you're really winning cases, you're scaling your business, however, you also want to generate leads, we can come in. We can take that work out of your hands and help you generate the results just in time for you to have your new client.
Okay, that's a fantastic answer. And I hope to the attorneys listening out there, you'll have actually picked up on some of the keywords that Jessica has mentioned. And, one of those keywords that I picked out was content. I think content is key when using social media. And it's a type of content that you post that either brings you clients or takes clients away from you. One of the focuses at My Legal Software is educational content. Because with educational content, it's not only teaching your clients, it's teaching people around them to understand what your business is about, what field you are in, the audience you target. And that's something that you've always mentioned in our previous webinars, talking about how you target the audience and the information you share across. So just to explore the options of educational content, what would be the appropriate way for a personal injury attorney or other attorneys out there to post content? What would be the correct educational content?
Well, with the educational content, you need to make sure that you're speaking their language as much as you'd want, sound as legal and as professional, especially with personal injury lawyers. You're not really talking to big businesses here. You're talking to people, to individuals, and they have to understand you in their language. And by language, I'm not talking about like English, or it's the cultural language, it's the language that they understand, the words, the jargon. You have to be very mindful with that. And let's face it, when you're DIYing your own content, you can't help it. It comes natural to you. You're just pure jargon, jargon, jargon. And then you think it's helpful. Well, at a certain level it is. But if it's not communicating properly, then you're missing some targets. And we don't like that. So when you're working with like a content strategy or a content plan, that's necessary. And oh, don't forget the content calendar, because if you miss posting, this is not just with your audience missing you on your social media or thinking if you're active or not. This is also the algorithm. Probably this one's quite familiar, because a lot of us would be talking about, oh, the algorithm has changed, they no longer do this and that on specific platforms. So if you're somehow suddenly inactive, the algorithm would think, yeah, I'm not going to show their older posts because I don't think they're going to post anyway. So we don't like that. So for lawyers, you really have to be very mindful.
Yeah, no, I actually understand that. And while we were talking on content and something that relates to content, it's whether you have a social media link page or you have a website. I've noticed that by actually having case highlights, when you share anonymous case studies and success stories, and actually mentioning that made me realize that something never Zaina had said, privacy. So that is why you have to post it anonymously. So you don't, it would be a breach of data and client, attorney privilege, of censorship of information. But I would think to showcase that would be advisable, as long as you get the client's consent to actually put it up on your website or on your social media links. What do you think?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right. So when you mentioned content, we were talking about wordings, we were talking about just an image. What would be your take on a visual content? Like, I know we spoke about TikTok last week. that was big. I mean, TikTok for lawyers. Well, let's just go over it once more, because the guys who have missed it, the attorneys that have missed it, let them find out visual content, what it's about.
Yes. Um, Visual content, especially today, with the new generation being raised in the digital space, is it makes you more relatable without any visual representation, or if you're just, purely text, context can be misconstrued. Unlike when it's a video, when it's a photo, giving more context, it really helps your audience understand you more, and it actually helps, get warmer to them in terms of relationship. Like, imagine this: if you're posting about your sister or your brother's birthday, but you didn't have any photos, but you said, no, it was fun, there were balloons, there party and everything, but there's nothing to see. Everyone would be like, yeah, good, but they can't fully relate to it. Unlike if you put in photos that gives more context, that's really gonna help them. So if you're gonna put in visual content, it gives them the context, and sometimes it's easier for them to relate. And let's face it, some people would barely read a whole long caption, but they'll be like, oh wait, I could relate to this. Wait, this is a similar case that I'm going through. You know what? I think this lawyer could make me win my case. I might as well consider hiring him. And wait, I'll just drop a message because his content is resonating to me. So yeah. So imagine if you missed that target. If you're just, posting text and then you're hoping that your target client understands it. It's a whole new level to put visual content, and then, just making it relatable and hopefully accelerating conversions for your target client.
Okay, that is very, very well explained. In the back of my head, it was like, I take a picture of a pizza and then it versus somebody eating the pizza. That was my concept and the take on it. But, working like for my legal software, being a part of something that's so big, something that's fabulous, and going through social media posts and so on, I've noticed like the younger generation, they use something called hashtags. And it's like hashtag something something, hashtag this, hashtag that. And I've only like very recently seen it across a couple of legal firms that have used hashtags. And doing some research behind it and speaking to you, you told me it is very necessary and strategic as well at the same time. The way you explain it to me, I would actually love for you to explain it to the attorneys out there. Or should we save some for them when they actually book a demo with us?
You know what? I'm gonna give you a teaser. It's about algorithm, and if they book a demo with us, we're gonna spill more about algorithm to them. But yeah, not here.
Okay, fabulous. So I just noticed, Jessica, someone had sent through a question, and they asked, why should busy personal injury lawyers consider outsourcing their social media marketing to professionals rather than managing it themselves?
Well, emphasis on busy. And when you're busy, it's a good problem because you're winning cases, you're getting clients. However, once those cases are done, you'll suddenly not be busy, but it might be too late for you to, up your social media game, because you'll have to wait for it for maybe a week or two to really, get into the algorithm and all that. So it's best for them to invest while they're busy, because it's like planting a seed. You don't just expect it to, once you plant it and you water it, the next day you'll have a tree and a fruit. No, that's not how it works. Although, well, probably if you're lucky, but that's more of an exemption than a rule. So if you are investing on your social media while you're busy, it really helps you with business development, with lead generation, with awareness, so that once you're ready to take in another client or you're scaling your law firm, they're there. They're just waiting for your response. They're ready. They're giving you the details. They trust you already. So that's why it's best to really outsource these kinds of services. However, if you do outsource this with someone who's not as professional as someone with a proven track record or someone who's had wins in social media, you cannot really expect the results. So you might as well trust someone who's more accountable to it, reliable, and of course, not a waste of money and definitely not a waste of time. And that's where we come in because we make sure that they get the results that they needed just in time when they're ready to add more clients or their schedule freed up because they kept winning cases and now they're ready for more.
Wow. I mean, to the attorneys listening, watching, I mean, as I will always say, this is the first place you will actually get answers like this. And normally, Jessica, I would have to ask the audience to send me questions while we are talking. And this time the questions are actually just coming in. We have another one that has popped up. How can a professional digital marketing team help personal injury lawyers avoid, the key word is avoid wasting leads and opportunities on social media platforms?
Well, that's a very, very good question. So, you see, some people waste opportunities before the leads come in, but there are also instances when they're almost there, but suddenly they didn't push through. So, with our team, we can help you with marketing automation. This way, we could give a proper workflow. So when there's a story, they will go through your posts and then send you a message. And with the help of our expertise, we will be setting everything up. They will be attended to because some platforms now, if not all, support a certain level of chatbot for the FAQs. And that's going to help them work out on the details. And these things, I know you lawyers are very amazing, you're very intellectual, but this is out of your league in terms of learning curve. But we can handle this for you. We can automate your marketing so that the customer experience is seamless down to the last part where they call you or they contact you. And yeah, that's what professional experience brings you. And that's something that we can guarantee you when you sign up for us. So that's my legal software that's there.
So the key to that answer you actually mentioned is sign up with My Legal Software because we will be with you every step of the way. So to the attorneys out watching there, you can see our contact number behind us, 934-LAW-TECH, or you can reach us at info@mylegalsoftware.com. Guys, y'all know who I am. It's Mike, mike.mo@mylegalsoftware.com. We are available at any given time. You drop us an email, we'll be responding to you. Drop us a phone call, we will pick it up, we will talk to you, and we will get you on your feet, up and running as soon as possible. Once you give us the go ahead, after you view the designs, the proposal, sign the contract, we are ready to roll. And we will be bringing you leads, making you money, keeping you happy. And yeah, that's about it. And Jessica, you know what? I'm just gonna take 2 more questions from the audience out there because they are sending it through. So what specific social media strategies and tactics are most effective for personal injury lawyers? And how can professionals tailor these to their unique needs and busy schedules?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, it's all about leverage. Some lawyers already have good brand awareness. Some lawyers already have a good client base, while some are just starting off with everything. Some already have good content, but they have poor strategy. So it really, I mean, no, it's the same with cases. No matter how much you know about the process, you still have a unique way of strategizing. So the tactics differ. Some law firms might say, oh, we don't need TikTok. But if you look at it, That's the only thing that's the only missing piece. So we will recommend it to them. We will let them know that, you know what, give it a try. We'll guarantee that you will get results from this. And sometimes it just takes, an open mind to explore approaches, especially with platforms coming up and changing, and other platforms changing names, changing algorithm. You really need to be very specific with what you want to do, where you want to go, and at the same time, what your leverage is. So you have to maximize on your leverage first. So as much as I'd like to answer you guys with that, I suggest you book a demo so we could tailor fit something for you.
Jessica, you and I, we've been working together for quite some time, and we can actually say we've seen the before and the after, and what a massive difference. I mean, I know we're not supposed to mention names or bring out anything, but we've seen specific attorneys with, I would say, just one social media page, 3 followers, 2 months later, 2 social media pages, over 1,000 followers, and then it kept on growing and growing and growing. Now he actually opened up another branch to get all the business out to there. So he needs assistance. He's employing more people, and that is fabulous. That is what we do. This is what we get you to achieve. We provide you with an all-in-one solution. When I say all-in-one, I'm talking ADA compliant websites, Jessica's phenomenal knowledge on social media marketing. We have a back-end team of SEO optimization teams. We have the sales representatives who will guide you through every process, the training. We have remote services. If you need an accountant, we'll provide that for you. There's so much of things that are within my legal software, and we urge you to actually give us a call, set up a demonstration. And believe me, if you need to speak to me, I would personally make myself available to speak to you and guide you through the process. And unlike any other company out there, I would just require 15 minutes of your time. And believe me, in those 15 minutes, you and I will have a conversation that will lead us to knowing each other like we've known each other for many years. I would say 10, 15 years, and we will start doing business immediately. So back to the questions, and I said there was 2 more, but this is the last one I want to ask you. In what ways can a professional digital marketing team measure the success of social media campaigns for personal injury lawyers, and how can this data be used to continuously improve results?
I think that's going to be a very interesting topic to discuss, because I might need another webinar slot for that. So you see, like with how lawyers are handling their cases, they look at numbers, they look at data, they have their own way of analyzing it, of learning from it. Whether like for the personal injury lawyer, it's like looking at the time spans, how things unfolded. So the same with social media, with digital media, not just for the platforms. This also goes for the website. So I'm a very strong believer that what you can measure, you can manage. So in alignment with your objective, we want to measure the right metrics. Is it brand awareness? Is it more calls and visits to their law firm or to their office as a solo lawyer? Or is this more of people engaging to their content because they want to really build their reputation? But there are different metrics to this. And the sad part here is if you're not hiring a professional, you're probably looking at engagement, but you really wanted more calls, you want more signups or email. So the engagement didn't bring you business because that was not your goal. However, if your goal was awareness and building your reputation, that will bring you business. So it's really, really very tricky to identify the metrics right now. And trust me, it's gonna need a whole webinar for this if they want to discuss about the analytics and performance marketing. But yes, it is very relevant. And if they don't start measuring things, which we do at My Legal Software, and which is something that we provide with them, it's going to be hard to measure success, going to be hard to measure the return of investment. So you can't just trust any professional with this. You have to know who you're trusting with it, so that the flow and the success rate is there. And that's what My Legal Software is.
Just to touch on that point, you talked about growing the awareness and then looking at the other aspects. I would think the attorneys, so the many that I've spoken, the main question is they ask me is ROI, returns on investments. I think the thing they want to capture most is getting the clients to the door, and the basics is conversion. That's all they are looking for, conversion ratio. And we have to, and it's always we explain to them. You get your organic marketing, and you get paid marketing, but that's for another topic altogether. And to the attorneys out there, if you want to find out more about this, please feel free to give us a call. You can speak to myself, Mike, or Jessica. Ask for one of us. We also have a fabulous team behind us who will be willing and glad to assist you guys at any given time. So on a lighter note, we have come towards the end of our show, and we will be catching you guys again in 2 weeks. So stay tuned, stay posted to our social medias. Like I said, subscribe and follow us to find out what the next topic is going to be. But believe me, it's going to be very exciting. We might have a new speaker available as well. Somebody will be joining us. Maybe not, it could happen, but we always keep our fingers crossed. And to leave you all with a successful note, just remember that the key to successful social media marketing for personal injury lawyers is providing value, building trust, and maintaining professionalism. Always prioritize ethical standards and compliance with legal advertising rules in your jurisdiction. I leave you all with these kind words. Thank you all so much for having us. Stay blessed. Have a fabulous afternoon. Goodbye.